please do not think just about him. Think about what the effects one person had on the quality of life of current and future generations. This is what makes him a legend, and that is why we have to pass on this story to future generations in order to continue to develop the future folklore of North Attleboro and of the Hockomock YMCA. By doing so, they will continue to learn that any one person committed to their fellow man can make a difference.
This celebration of his life of an extraordinary man who never lived a sad day. Tony Calcia packed 200 years of fun into his 64 years on Earth, and boy did he have fun.
When I was in 8th grade, the middle school basketball team was defunded by Proposition 2.5. So we were not going to have a basketball season. My friends and I were devastated. Tony stepped up and decided he'd run the team. He would enter us into tournaments and drive us all around, just so my friends and I could have a basketball season. What none of us knew was that Tony didn't know very much about basketball. If you've never been a passenger in Tony's car, let me tell you, it's an experience. Part concert, part comedy act, and part thrill ride. My friends and I had so much fun singing in that car with Tony leading the way. I'm sad that he wasn't able to finish his life the way he wanted to, but I do find some comfort in knowing that Tony had a tremendous life.
This one's from Jeff Dawes, Big Bird. We all know how much Tony loved yard work and cutting grass. In our late 20s, Tony and I rented a house with a big, beautiful yard and a pond. The landlord laid out 2 conditions: shovel the snow and cut the grass. Neither made Tony happy, however. The first Saturday in June, the grass needed to be cut. I went out to run some errands, get my morning coffee and newspaper. When I returned home, I did a double take. In the backyard was a child, just a bit taller than the handlebar of the lawnmower, pushing it in the heavy grass, and it was hot out. Tony wasn't around, so I walked over to the young boy and asked him how come he was cutting our grass. With a big smile on his face, he looked at me proud and said, "Uncle Tony hired me."
I asked myself, what if you were told you could only say one word about Tony? What would that one word be? Needing inspiration, I thought, well, what would Tony do? Play the Beatles, of course. At the top of my playlist was a song called The Word. Have you heard? The word is love. He never learned how to just like, because as a self-proclaimed man of excess, his heart knew only how to love.
Tony brings a crew of kids and counselors to the camp on the banks of the Saco River. It's gonna be awesome. Then a massive rainstorm hits and the park rangers come in the middle of the night and say, "You've got to get out of here. The river is overflowing and flooding the campground." What does Tony do? He loads the buses and drives all these kids and counselors to the Red Jacket Inn, a plush 5-star hotel in North Conway. And everyone gets a room. And then Tony makes, we might be sheepish, that didn't go well, pretty dangerous. No, we're gonna make t-shirts. I survived the flood. And he goes into town hall and drops the receipt and says, "I need a reimbursement. We had a lot of fun."
But Tony used to always say to me, he would thank me for what he called taking a chance in hiring him. But I always told him, and I say it again today, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. One of the great blessings of my life was that I got to work and be with Tony Calcia every day for 19 years. And professionally, I think about the impact that Tony had on so many lives.
The opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. How many times have you heard Tony ever say the words, whatever? He was passionate about everything.
At this point, I draw your attention over to the corner of the tent. A woman who has been given all the accolades for bringing Tony to us. His mother, Barbara, affectionately referred to as Mimi, would like to say a few words.
I want to thank you for coming today. And I was the luckiest mother in the world.